no doubt, and the same theme appear. And I think a great leading question to start us with, like, why are some network marketers more successful than others?
Mate, it's a brilliant question. Uh, let me tell you a funny story. Ninny and I were out having a date. After I forget how many years we've been together, but we're out having a date today, and my mind got a little bit preoccupied with what was on the television. And although here in Taiwan I don't speak Chinese, I can still watch the news. And on the news, this woman had taken her hand and put it inside a bin. And she was trying to get something out of the bin. Anyway, she kept pushing her hand further and further inside of the bin until the hand was stuck right down inside the bin. And the bin was right next to an ATM machine, so there was a security camera. And her arm got stuck in there, and she couldn't get it out of the bin. And people are coming and going from this ATM, and eventually the police came and they had to cut her hand out of the bin when ultimately she could have just let go of whatever she was holding on to. And I think that's a great segue, is that in life, in business, in network marketing, successful people, they do more of the successful things and less of others. There's 5 principles of success. And the 5th principle of success is to create a psychology of excellence. And the people who are more successful in network marketing than others work on that psychology of excellence all the time. Here's a great example. I was speaking to a network marketer from the UK just last week. And years ago, she'd moved from the UK to Australia. And she did that at a time of her life where she had a very young family and they were moving to Australia with no money. She got into network marketing. She got into Australia. She launched her own personal training business. She ended up with cancer. She had another 2 children, and she added 25,000 people to her network in that 5 years, going through all of that. And the difference with this lady being more successful than others is that she had a psychology of excellence that allowed no excuses. She wouldn't let any mental block or barrier prevent her from getting her goals. So my point here is that 80% of success in network marketing is absolutely mental. And what you want to do is to create a mental thought process, a psychology of excellence that seeks to eliminate any limiting belief as you go whilst you're on your journey.
Okay, cool. Thanks for explaining that, buddy. So can you go into a bit more detail? What is a self-limiting belief?
Mm-hmm. Self-limiting beliefs, I think Brian Tracy says it better than anybody else. And he says that self-limiting beliefs are probably the biggest mental blocks that we'll ever have to face in our life. These are beliefs and attitudes that prevent us or slow us down in any way. And they also get us to a point where we stop trying. And what they lead to is they lead to a thought pattern that stops us from achieving what we want. And we start to believe things that are fake that end up being true for us. Tad and Adriana James, my other trainers, they say self-limiting beliefs stem from limiting decisions that we've made in unconscious moments of our life. And these can be when we're really, really young, and now they hang out and plague us in older life. A lot of the ones that I see in network marketing is that people say, I don't feel that this business will work for me. That decision is followed by a series of beliefs. Other people say, I can't make the type of money that I want. That's a decision, and then it's backed up by a certain amount of beliefs. Other people, and I'll tell you a good example of this in a moment, they say, I'm not smart enough. And they make that decision, and then they lock it in with a series of beliefs over time. So when I was going to school, I was challenged at school. So I started to believe that me being challenged at school was just how my life was going to be. And throughout my life, 10, 15, 20 years later, whenever it came to an exam, I would study really, really hard. But in the back of my mind, I'd have this belief that I was going to fail. And it didn't matter how hard I studied, when it got to that exam, I'd fail simply because of that belief. And then I'd start to tell stories around that. I would tell the examiners that I failed because this was a computer-based exam and I needed to do paper-based exam. If it was a paper-based exam, I'd make up an excuse and say, well, I need a computer to do it. And I'd make up all these excuses until it just became my reality. And it would get to such a point that I would fail every time, and then I would have to resit the exam. When I'd resit the exam, I'd then get 100%. And everybody would pat me on the back and say how wonderful I was and how smart I was and how well I do under pressure. And then I created a belief that I can only work under pressure. So I'd only do things when things got bad enough. And it was all stemming from limiting decisions and limiting beliefs that I had in my past. And that's how they impact people in network marketing. That's how they impact business people all around the world.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. I remember one of our conversations a while back when I said, I'm better when my back's against the wall, and I'm under pressure and I feel like, I'm being attacked. And you was just like, that's nonsense. Because actually, how could you be better? And you explain why. And because I told myself the story that, hey, I've had success when that has happened. So I can only be at my best when that happens. And again, just a story.
Yep, and in RX, you have that purity water filter. That's the correct name, is it? The purity water filter?
Yeah.
That filter seeks to eliminate any debris or anything in that compound that you put in the bowl that's not pure. And really in life, a self-limiting belief is like a filter. So if you take a filter and you put it in your life that says, I can't make the type of money that I want to make, you start to filter out all the opportunities where you could make a lot of money. You'll start to filter out the people who are willing to buy from you. You'll filter out the people who are willing to spend a lot of money with you. And this is scientific, and it fires off two areas of the mind. First of all, it kicks off the reticular activation system. And the reticular activation system is a part of your mind that focuses on your most dominant thought. So if you're not driving at the moment, if you're at home, do this exercise. And I know this is a good one for you, James, is what I want you to do is I want you to look around your room. And I want you to look around for everything that is red. So just start to have a look around your room and just say to yourself, look for everything that is red, look for everything that is red, look for everything is red, look for everything that is red. And what happens is you set your mind up to look for what is red, and you start to focus on what is red. And it starts to focus out all the other colors. And that's what a limiting belief does. It says, focus on, I can't make the type of money that I want. And then the mind only focuses on that. As that happens, one of the mental laws kick in. And the mental laws here is the law of correspondence. And mental laws are like gravity. It works 100% of the time. And the law of correspondence says, as within, so without. And our outer world of results is a reflection of our inner world of thinking. And it's just like that focus on red, you get on the outside world what you've programmed your mind to do on the inside world.
Powerful stuff. So if people are on the call now, and obviously you give a little description and how it can hold people back, but how else can they identify a limiting self-belief? If they're on the call now and they look at the business journey so far, the things they're doing, maybe the things they're not doing, how can everyone on the call, how can they identify it?
Yeah, beautiful. I think the easiest way is, let's tag it on to the exercise we just did. If everybody has a pen and a paper in front of them, as all good students do, they always have a pen and a paper, they're ready to write things down, is I want you to write down exactly how much money you earned in the past 30 days. So in your RX business, write down exactly how much you earned. And it doesn't matter if you're happy with that figure or not, just write it down. What you'll notice is that that number there, however much you earned in your commissions, that's exactly what your mind is programmed to. That's the law of correspondence. Your outer world of commissions equals, and it can be no different than your inner world of thinking. So first of all, you've got to have a baseline. You've got to understand that that figure is what your mind is set to, and it can be no other way. So once you know that figure, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to write down how much you really want to earn every month. So you've got that figure, this is what I earned last month, and start to write down what you really want to earn. If there was no limitations, if you could get exactly what you wanted, how much do you truly want to earn? So we also have to know our baseline, and that's our 0 point, and that's what you're earning in the last 30 days. You also want to have a look at what you truly want to earn. And it's a great question, is how do I identify the self-limiting beliefs? Well, the self-limiting beliefs come up in our favourite excuses. And this is where we've got to be totally honest with ourselves. Ask ourselves the question, why am I not earning that type of money already? So maybe you wrote down 4 figures on your page. Maybe you wrote down 5 figures on your page. Maybe you wrote down 6 figures on your page. And as you have a look at that number, ask yourself, why am I not earning that already? And as you do, just start to write down all those excuses. And often we come up with our favourite excuses, and I can hear the minds ticking over. Well, I'm not making that type of money because I'm new. I'm not making that type of money because I didn't have enough time. I'm not making this type of money because I'm still in a part-time career. All these excuses, these are actually our self-limiting beliefs. And when we have an excuse like, I don't have enough time, what we'll track that back to is a self-limiting belief that I don't believe I can achieve this goal in the time that I have. And for as long as we have that filter operating in the mind, we'll never achieve that desired goal. So your self-limiting beliefs always pop up in all the excuses that we have for not getting exactly what we want.
Yeah, it seems so obvious, when you talk about it, but the more you think about it with it, and everyone's got them, right? That's the thing, in some capacity, people have got limiting beliefs, and once you identify them, and then I suppose the next step is, what can you do about it? What's the process of eliminating a limiting self-belief, and how long would that take?
Yeah. Just touching on what you said, everybody has them. We always will have them, and we'll never totally get rid of all of them because we're always growing. And as we grow, we've got to learn, and we have to also relearn. And I'll touch on a story a little bit later about what happens when people do eliminate them. But absolutely, 100%, you can get rid of them. We're living in the most exciting times. We've got 6,000 years of research into the rise and falls of successful civilizations and of businesses and business people. And today, thanks to people like Doctors Tad and Adriana James, they've given us techniques that have been used with more than 250,000 people, and they can eliminate a self-limiting belief in under 8 minutes. And we can see this with the work we did with Kaylee Jean on the recent trip. a 29-year habit of having a noo eliminated in just a small amount of time, eliminating those mental blocks. Now, if we had a look at Nunu, there was a belief that she just had to have Nunu with her, but it was a self-limiting belief. And once you get rid of these self-limiting beliefs, you can move on to much better things in your life, and you can start to do it in as little as 8 minutes. Two ladies here, for example, and these are network marketers, is one lady, she was in network marketing for 17 years, and she was struggling to earn 10,000 Australian dollars a month. And it was just the same for her. She'd been there for 17 years, kept getting the same results, and she was stuck. But she had a series of limiting beliefs. Firstly, she didn't believe that she deserved success. And this was one of the biggest barriers for her to earn the type of money that she wanted. She said for her to be a success, $30,000 was the key figure. But while she had that belief of, I don't deserve success, she could never earn that type of money. Within 60 days of eliminating that self-limiting belief, she went on to earn more than $30,000 every single month, and even hitting a point of $35,000 a month. And that's what happened to her when she got rid of hers. Another lady, she was in Juice Plus in Australia. She was in there for 10 years. And she didn't believe people would spend $300 with her on personal nutrition. So she joined the company. Then she created a self-limiting belief that people wouldn't spend that type of money. So that's all she saw. She saw in front of her only the people who wouldn't spend this type of money. She'd set up these market stalls. She would stay up late. She'd do all this marketing and all this hard work, but she still didn't believe people would buy. The other one that she had that run simultaneously was that selling is not a credible career. And we really got down to the root cause of that self-limiting belief. And the root cause of that self-limiting belief was that when she grew up, her father had a degree. He went to university and he had a degree, and he would sit around the business table saying that this family, we don't sell. We're intellects, and people who sell, it's a lower form of career and it's a lower level in society. So she grew up with this being hammered into her. And at the age of 60, she's out there trying to sell, but simultaneously has this self-limiting belief that selling is bad. So the moment that she got rid of that self-limiting belief, in the following 60 days, she added 61 people into her downline, and she jumped her sales from $10,000 to $19,000 every month. So the point is 80% of success is mental. And once you let go of those self-limiting beliefs, you can get the level of success that you desire.
It's crazy. And, maybe some people can relate to this on the call. And like you said before, Daniel, like self-awareness is the key, looking inwards and, a set of circumstances, or if people believe that they have an excuse, but I always say that someone, who's in a worse set of circumstances is making it happen. So, all excuses are equal. I think the next thing as well, some of the things that you're probably hearing a lot, and it's, it's commonplace, and people put these obstacles, these barriers in their mind, and if they don't believe it themselves, then how can they expect someone else to believe it? When you say, hey, no one wants to join my business, people think our products are too expensive, that person over there is successful because they got lucky, all these sorts of things would fit into that limiting beliefs category, right?
Mate, 100%. It's just like putting oxygen in the fire. We make a decision, and if we go back to this lady in Sydney, the decision was selling is bad. That's essentially what the root cause was. Selling is bad. And then she found all these other beliefs that supported it. And that's how the mind works. It just keeps adding in there to what we've already got. So if we have that belief, we'll just search for the answer that is in direct alignment with that. We can't see anything else.
Yeah. Makes total sense. So we've all got them, some more than others. We've probably identified that. But what happens with these self-limiting beliefs if they're left unattended?
Oh, everybody's lived in a house where somebody forgot to do the garden. They didn't mow the lawn. They didn't till the soil, and the weeds started to grow everywhere. And what once looks like a beautiful property suddenly loses a lot of value. 80% of people in society, James, are preoccupied about money. 97% don't have goals. 43% have a fear of failure. And what happens for people who don't seek to eliminate their self-limiting beliefs, they just become another statistic. They become one of the people who jump from network marketing company to network marketing company. They create excuses for and tell everybody all the reasons why it didn't work for them. They live a life of unfulfilled potential, which for 84% of people in society, they go to work every day doing a job that they hate because of self-limiting beliefs. And 84% of people in society really hate what they do. And this is what happens is they become one of those people. The people who do let go of the self-limiting beliefs, they automatically move into that 5% of society who never have to worry about money again. Imagine that, waking up every day, living in the house that you want to live with, waking up next to the person that you really want to live with, and being able to live life on your terms. That's what happens to the people who seek to eliminate their self-limiting beliefs. And you've got to do whatever it takes to get rid of them. And once you get rid of those self-limiting beliefs, you never have to worry about money ever again.
Yeah, it's as you were saying that, I was thinking back to, and of course there's, network marketing. It's it's a turnstile. Like, so many people come through and so many go out the other end. And I often see, and there's no problem if people decide to move on, for whatever reason. Sometimes people need a fresh challenge. But I often see when kind of that back end before people leave it will start, right? The self believes it's too expensive, it's too hard, no one wants to join my business. And then you kind of see people, they get past sometimes to the point of no return, because they either continue to tell themselves that story, the old saying, misery loves company. They then surround themselves with other people who validate that story and say, yeah, I feel the same. And then before you know it, they believe that success will never happen. And why would you stay somewhere where you believe it's not going to be possible?
Mate, and it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. We get so convinced of our own story, and people will actually die for their self-limiting beliefs. And there's an old saying is that you have to make it work where you are. The thing about our self-limiting beliefs is that wherever I go, there I am. I wrote a book, and it's a little off topic, but I wrote a book for female cabin crew after spending 4 years working with Emirates. And the book was called Single, Lonely and Afraid. And essentially that these women had self-limiting beliefs about finding their ideal partners. The guys had them as well. The book wasn't for the guys, it was just for the girls. And these girls, they would move from country to country. They would move from job to job, and they could not find the right partner. And they had become so convinced that they wouldn't be able to find that partner that wherever they went, there they were. They begin to generalize all the men in society until they got their convictions, until their convictions became true. And we spoke once before saying that if you find 5 people who are like you, 5 people who desire the same level of success as you do, and maybe these people are even more successful than you are at the moment, by spending time with those 5 people, it increases your rate of success by more than 375%, just by spending time with positive, optimistic people. The opposite is also true. For people who have self-limiting beliefs, they surround themselves with other people who have the same self-limiting belief, is because it becomes their reality. They're the only friends they can make. The problem is the same percentage applies on the negative. So just like the temperature can go plus 50 degrees, it can also go minus 50 degrees in places like Russia. So when you spend time with other people with the same self-limiting belief, which by law of attraction you have to, you'll lower your level of success by more than 375%.
Wow. Just say that last bit again. I was writing that down. So if you spend time with people
with the same self-limiting beliefs as you, and probably worse, think about it, becomes a competition. Hey, I made 50 phone calls on Project X, and all the people said no. And then the next person, they always have to top you. Well, I made 60 calls, and then the other person says, well, I made 70 and I got rejected and they told me this, and this, and they abused me. As we have our self-limiting beliefs, we often spend time again with 5 or more people who are like us because of law of attraction. And then it lowers our levels of success by more than 375%. It lowers it. And then that becomes our reality. And then we're convinced. And then we join a group and we say, well, I'm going to jump ship. You guys should jump ship with me. And they all jump ship at the same time. Then they go join another company and the same thing happens there. And they find all the other underperformers and they're with the same self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, talked about in a simplistic way, not as detailed as that, but for me is, go and find the people who can be the power source. Like you said, you become the 5 people who you spend the most time with. You don't want the people who are going to drain your battery, even though it might not be intentional. That might not be what they set out to do, but ultimately, if, I don't know, if they're struggling and you're struggling, then it's people taking each other down. So that's a good exercise maybe for people on the call if you're there and at the minute business is not where you want to be. Have a look around and who can help inspire you, who can take you to the next level, who's walking the walk at the minute, who can you spend some time with, to help take you to the next level.
Mate, exactly what you said there as well is these self-limiting beliefs. I promise everybody, we do not do this intentionally. This is so unconscious, out of our awareness. We would never put our hand inside a fire. We would never intentionally burn ourselves because it really hurts us. But sometimes when we're not aware, we do put our hand in the fire. Years ago, I spent 17 years in porn, broking, not the movies. And I remember we had this toaster and it would do like sandwich melts. I think you might call them toasties there in the UK. And it had a short circuit in it. And my dad said to me, I want you to throw that in the bin, but make sure you cut the cord before you throw it in the bin because our customers, they'll go out into the bin, they'll salvage it and they'll bring it back and try to sell it to us. So without thinking about it, I picked up a pair of scissors. They were these huge scissors and they had a metal handle on them and they'd be big enough to cut through an electrical cord. And I cut straight through the cord, but the bloody power, the cord was still connected to the power cord. And as I put the scissors through the cord, this huge zap, this huge bang went off and I got electrocuted. And it actually threw me about 2 meters across the room. And it bloody hurt. But I didn't intentionally do it. And it's like these self-limiting beliefs. We would never do this on purpose because it does really hurt us. It hurts us. It hurts our level of income. It hurts our self-worth and self-esteem. They're just way outside of our awareness. But we do have to become aware of them in order to do something about it.
Interesting. Okay, so for those who want to eliminate, maybe people like you said were sat on the call and reflecting and going, I have some certain limiting beliefs. That's what I've been doing. And like you said, everyone's got them. What's the next step for those who want to get rid of their self-beliefs?
Mate, there's 279 people on the call right now. And they wouldn't be here if they didn't want to be a big success. And like you're here listening to me as your business coach, every world champion has had a coach. There was a great book written by J. Conrad Levinson years ago. And in the opening statement was, every world champion has had a coach. Every professional sports team has a coach. Every Olympic athlete has a coach. Every successful business person has a coach or they have a mentor. And if you really want to step it up, if you want to play a bigger game, if you want to live in the house on the hill, if you want to drive the nice car, if you want to have luxurious holidays, you've got to get yourself a coach. That's the first thing that you've got to do. You've got to get yourself a coach and you've got to get yourself a mentor. There was two gentlemen in Sydney that I worked with. Both were working in the same real estate office at the same time, the same day, the same week, the same location. One had hair, one had no hair. One was really tall and single and lived with his mum, and the other one had kids. So their lives were very different. The guy who had 3 kids, he was up at 5 a.m. every morning doing the best he could. He was earning $500,000 a year in commissions, and he was being very, very successful. The other guy was coming in even earlier. He was coming into the office at 2 a.m. in the morning. He was staying up late. Sometimes he wouldn't leave the office till 10 o'clock at night. And he was single and he had all the time in the world. But he was only earning $10,000. There was a variance of $490,000 with both of these two gentlemen. And they were trying as hard as they could. The guy who was earning $500,000, he was really happy, but he wanted to do better. The guy who was struggling at $10,000, he had the same experience as the other guy, but he had a series of self-limiting beliefs that prevented him from making the type of money that he wanted. This is what happened to two guys in the weeks and the months ahead. The guy who was earning $500,000, he said, I'm not going to rest on my laurels. I know I'm doing good, but I want to earn more money. But he knew that the thinking that got him $500,000 a year in commission was the same thinking that prevented him from earning any more money, because he had belief levels to 500,000. And that's amazing, by the way. He wanted to earn more. So he said to me, Daniel, he said, I want to earn $1 million a year. So he seeks to eliminate each one of his self-limiting beliefs that prevented him from earning $1 million. So if we said $500,000 a year is $50,000 a month, he then, in 90 days' time, after removing his self-limiting beliefs, same market, same office, same wife, same family, same normal challenges as everybody else, he went up to earning more than $110,000 every month within 90 days, because he was a high performer and he got rid of his self-limiting beliefs. He now earns $1 million a year. Same guy. The other gentleman, he didn't start working with me until he wanted to see the other guy get his results. And eventually what happened was the gap started to widen. The guy who was earning $500,000, now he's earning $1 million. The other guy started to feel the heat. He said, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Within 60 days, this gentleman went from earning, you got to think about this, $10,000 a year in commissions. That's $1,000 a month. He increased his results 7-fold in 60 days and went straight up to earning $35,000 a month within 60 days. Wow. So now he earns $350,000 a year. And that was his goal. Everybody has the potential to be great. And the next step for you is to seek to eliminate those self-limiting beliefs. And we're going to be in the UK shortly, and we're going to be showing people how to do it. It's a phenomenal change in your life. When you can start to earn the money that you desire, you never have to worry about money again. And if you're serious about really becoming all that you can be, if you want to unlock more of your potential, if you want to eliminate those self-limiting beliefs and make a lot more money, make sure that you're at the Success Breakthrough in November. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, perfect. What are the details for that, Daniel? November?
Mate, it's going to be November 25, 26 and 27. It's going to be in Manchester. The normal investment for this type of training is £999. There is a special, and the special price for RX team members is £499. So it's a massive saving of £500. And like everything I do, I guarantee the results. And if you come along and you're not totally delighted with what you learn, then I'll give you your money back, no questions asked, straight away.
So with that, how many days is it over, Daniel?
That's going to be a 3-day training. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's me inside of your mind, which is a good thing. 24 hours of reshaping and rewiring your mind for success, finding those self-limiting beliefs and strategically eliminating them one by one. Wow.
Perfect. And I can vouch for that because you've been in my tiny mind plenty of times. It's phenomenal. And we had great feedback from, the Eat That Frog course for those who were there. This is kind of the next level, a little bit more intense, a little bit deeper, over a few more days as well. So, we're excited as well. I know you're coming back over early next year. So it's, for me, I always take every opportunity to develop myself. And, I suggest the same for you guys on the call. So any more details required for that, don't be afraid to drop Daniel a message. He'll send you that, and we can also maybe post something in the School of Success. So I appreciate that, Daniel. Daniel, just a quick one, which is relevant for us right now. So we've got in 2 weeks. This is our, big final event of the year. It's going to be huge. It means so many things for the people on the call. Of course, the education, the motivation, the inspiration. Being around the campfire. That's where you get warm, right? That's our campfire. But I think the first thing is people turning up. But then I think for most people on the call, they'll be like, "Hey, I want to get more people there," because they know if they get more people in that room, they see what we're about, they understand it, they absorb it. So how can people on this call, maybe they've got some limiting self-beliefs about getting people to this event in Birmingham? With final 2 weeks, we want a huge push, and we want to break some fire regulations. Like, how can they do that?
Right, beautiful question. You first of all, you've got to be there. You have to be there. I was talking to my mentor and my master the other day, and there's a little bit of a difference between the Western world and the Eastern world, is that in the Western world, people tend to go and take a training, they go to an event and they say, "Oh, wow, what a wonderful event," and they do nothing about it. Where in the Eastern world, people travel hundreds of miles, they travel for days barefooted across the country, and they sit at the door of the master. And they sit at the door of the master, and they have this willingness and this belief that if they're sitting there in front of the master, they're going to learn at least one thing that's going to change their life. And you'll see that when Eastern races tend to travel, they take their entire family with them, because they know that if I learn it and I can share it with my family, all the people in my family are going to be a big success. And on the journey there, they talk about all the ways that they can become a big success. They go there together, they go home, and they talk about all the ways that they can implement this, because they become very communal. They say that your network determines your net worth. If you're serious about making a lot of money, if you're serious about getting exactly what you desire in life, then believe first and foremost that this one event has the ability to change the course of your life. It's like being at that fork in the road. We're always at choice. So believe it strongly enough and imagine yourself going to this event and leaving with wonderful information. And what you'll start to do is you'll start to change the way you see the event. You have to believe that this event is going to change your life. And then what happens is, energetically, you share that energetic belief with other people. And it becomes contagious. When they see that you're excited, they'll get excited and they'll want to be there. But first of all, like I say, you can't get rich working for a poor boss. You have to have that rich belief inside of you. Then you can share it with others. That statistic, again, 375% increase in your levels of success by spending time with like-minded people. There's going to be hundreds of people at that event. As a result, you'll become more successful. It is a mental law, and it will happen.
Powerful stuff. Appreciate you sharing. So, personally, I'm excited for the event. I know lots of other people are. And of course, now if they have the right thought process about the event, the right beliefs that the event is going to deliver everything they expect, then they can transmit that to others. And no doubt they'll attract more people to the event. And if you do that, in simple terms, your business grows. So
can I just have a shout out here? And people think it often takes a long time to get results. There's an amazing woman by the name of Natalie Hamblett, and Natalie came to Eat That Frog in Manchester. In the 3 weeks following, it's only 3 weeks now, in the 3 weeks following Eat That Frog, she took that information, applied it, and added another 10 people to her downline.
Oh, wow.
She was struggling, and she added 10 new people. And what happened as a result of that training, she changed her belief system. When you choose a new powerful belief, it eliminates the old limiting belief. And she added another 10 people. And people have to realize that change takes place in an instant. And if they go to the event in November 12, they're going to see the world differently because they'll have new information. So you've got to get to that event. Got to be there.
Perfect. Appreciate that. So obviously, there's always huge value on the call, Daniel, and relatable as well. I think, like I said, everyone has these, limiting self-beliefs, and hopefully people reflect and say, hey, what are mine? And obviously, you give us some mechanisms to be able to change that thought process. I suppose coming towards the end of the call, have you got any final thoughts for everyone before we call it a day?
Yeah. Earl Nightingale said, "You become what you think about most of the time." If you're thinking about your self-limiting beliefs most of the time, consciously or unconsciously, you will become them. When you have a look at your income and you say, that's not exactly what I want, it's time for you to remove those self-limiting beliefs. I was in a place in my life years ago where my self-limiting beliefs really held me back. And once I figured out that key to success on how to let go of those self-limiting beliefs, I went out there in the weeks ahead. I added new clients to my business. I moved into a bigger house. I traveled more often, and I woke up every day with energy. Do whatever you can to let go of those self-limiting beliefs. And if you want to perform at your best, be at the Success Breakthrough this November. It'll change the course of your life and your family's life from that day forward. Life will never be the same again.
Wow, appreciate it. Thank you, Daniel, as always. And thanks to everyone else on the call. I'm sure you got huge value. Big push towards November the 12th now, and some skills and some understanding of our limiting beliefs. Maybe we can eradicate some of them, drive forward, and have a phenomenal time with the final event of the year. That aside, everyone, I hope you've had a great weekend. Have a prosperous week. Daniel, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Bye now.